and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that looks to answer exactly those. I'm Rebecca Felgate, continuing our World War series, where today we are asking how would World War III end? You may have watched our Who Would Win and our Who Would Fight videos, and we wanted to delve a little further into what the level of destruction would be and what the aftermath would look like. The extent of the damage would really be dependent on who entered the war, but let's say a worst case scenario develops with North Korea, Russia, Syria, Iran and China against the United States, South Korea, the Ukraine, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, Germany, Japan and Australia, as well as Israel, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, with possible intervention from Saudi Arabia and other parts of Europe. The combined military forces of those fighting will cause much destruction. The USA, China and Russia between them have enough in their arsenal to destroy much of the world's civilization. While World War I and II took years to play out, it's likely that World War III would be all over very quickly, but be much more lethal with a vaster scale of damage. It depends who strikes first as to where the damage will fall. If America wanted to, it could pretty much eradicate North Korea, but not without a reasonable fight, especially aimed at the South Koreans. Again, America could cripple Syria, but Russia wouldn't let that happen. Vladimir Putin has previously bragged that he has the power to destroy America in half an hour or less. America feels much the same towards the Russians and has done since the Cold War, when President John F. Kennedy laid out his plans for mutually assured destruction. Basically, when the first missiles or bomb is launched by either America, China or Russia, each will have already sent missiles back to assure the perpetrator is just as wounded. What will we be left with? This map, put together by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the National Resources Defense Council, shows the cities most likely to be hit in the States, factoring in reach from Russia, China and possibly North Korea. With much of the United States and Canada destroyed, the devastation would be reflected in all participating countries. Meanwhile, ISIS are sure to have run amok, basking in the devastation and gaining power while the rest of the world suffers. So, how many will die before it's all over? Well, these days we have far more powerful weapons than ever. For example, the atomic bombs that were dropped in Japan were one thing, but these days we have weapons 3,000 times more powerful. The state of the world at the end depends on how many nuclear weapons are used before a truce was called. The damage from just a few could be enough to get countries to strike up peace talks, but in a worst case scenario, both Russia and the US have over 2,000 nuclear warheads, which is enough to wipe out a large chunk of the world's population. In World War II, 75 million people died. If the world went full-on nuke war, some estimate as many as 2 billion could die, which seems plausible given the reach of nuclear fallout. Eventually, the death toll will be so high and the damage so vast that a truce will have to be called, and while the war may be over, the effects of it will be felt for generations to come. Cancer will be on the rise as nuclear fallout poisons land, and many will struggle to survive without clean water or crops. The aftermath of the war would be a war unto itself. There would be economic ruin for all involved. War is as expensive as it is devastating. Countries will be forced to rebuild what they have left, while people feel and seethe from a war that the majority did not want. Families would be broken, lives would be ruined. Of course, it wouldn't end there either. With the money needed to rebuild our countries, funds would be cut from science and technology, pushing back developments in space, medicine and technological advancement. And what of the environment? Our ozone layer is likely to be damaged and will have undoubted repercussions on the climate. Farming, crops, destroyed. Hello there, famine. Furthermore, if extremist groups like ISIS were to gain strength in all of the chaos, then the fighting would not be over. Essentially, once you begin fighting, is it ever really over? The trigger of World War III would do much damage, and what would ensue would be devastation and one-upmanship until someone decides enough is enough and yields. Who that will be, we just don't know. We do not know who will start it nor end it, but ultimately there are no winners, just losers on a major scale. Billions of people dead, cities crumbled, and everything you enjoyed about your pre-war existence gone. So how would World War III end? Well, chances are you wouldn't live to see it, and if you did, everything you know and love will be affected in the aftermath. I can't think of a better reason to avoid starting war in the first place. So that is all we have for this episode of Life's Biggest Questions. How do you think World War III will end? Let me know in the comments section down below. Also remember, just because we are discussing war doesn't mean you need to start it in the comments. For now, I'm Rebecca Felgate. Remember to stay curious, stay safe, and never ever stop questioning.